Hello, hello, beautiful souls. There's a reason you are here. You know you're meant for more freedom, more truth, more you. And this is the exact reason I have my special guest today, Lydia Kimmerling. She is a seasoned speaker on TV shows, TEDx speaker, host of Closer to Source podcasts. She is an amazing healing catalyst, spiritual channel, master life coach who helps you uncover the hidden blocks behind emotional, physical, and spiritual pain. Welcome to the show, Lydia.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I absolutely love helping people get unstuck because you can't open new doors for more when you're stuck in the life now. And I know that is also your work. So let's start there. Why do you think so many people feel stuck in life?
Mm. Okay, there's two angles we can come for this. It's because number one, they don't know how to change things. So we just settle. But then there's a much deeper thing going on. And most of us are really stuck with energy blocks, which it's karma, it's emotions that are holding us back from really seeing the truth and knowing the truth of our divinity and who we are and how we can live. And when that's playing out, you are happy to settle, or at least you convince yourself that you're happy to settle for living in pain, whether it's emotional, spiritual, or physical. But as those blocks start to lift, and whether that's could be lack of confidence, lack of courage, lack of self-belief, lack of self-love, comparison, and anything that can really keep us stuck, then you start to really see the truth and see where you've been lying to yourself.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm a coach, so I love helping people get unstuck because we can help them expedite the process, right? For
Mhm.
you, in your opinion, what's the first step to getting unstuck for your client?
First and foremost, I think we have to be comfortable with saying what we want. And and that doesn't have to necessarily be something grand. My work's changed a lot over the 15 years I've been doing this. When when I first started out, it would have been about getting people to admit that they want more and what that and get, creating this big vision about what it is that they want. Um, Now I work much more deeply and much more quickly. And the first step for me is really getting them to connect to their heart. If I can get somebody rapidly out of the head and into the heart, then everything unpacks itself very quickly.
I like that. Out of your head and into your heart. So
Mm-hmm.
tell me more about that.
Well, we are kind of trained to let the head lead. And that comes from school, society, and it's really about who are you going to be in the mirror of everybody else. So the expectations of your parents, of society, very rarely have are we taught how to be self-critical, to understand what it is that we really want for ourselves. And that means then that the ego leads everything. And the ego believes in separation. So the ego operates from lack, which means it's always going to be making its decisions based on validation of others, the judgment of others, and not from the place of knowing that you are already divinely perfect, whole, and loved. It was never meant to lead, though. It's not to say the mind is bad, that it's not that the mind, the head doesn't have a place. It does. It's the machinery that we've been given to navigate this human experience. But the heart is the leader and the head is the support act. So once you get into the heart, which is really where you can hear God's voice, you can really allow your soul to lead, you're going to get that divine guidance. You you then create space for the head to go, oh my goodness, thank goodness. I knew something wasn't right. I knew I wasn't actually doing the right job. But it's difficult because the head and the heart communicate very differently. The heart doesn't really care so much what other people think. And it's usually going to ask you to act courageously. It won't always make sense. It's going to go against a lot of the structure in which you've built your security around, because it's not operating through disconnection. It's not operating through separation. It knows the truth, and it knows the illusions of this reality. The end.
Just as you were speaking, I just feel like I have to pull up one of your recent posts on Instagram because I really loved what you posted. It's 5 signs you're not living your full potential.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to read out loud right now. Number one, you feel like you're constantly searching but never quite finding. Number two, you've ticked the boxes in life, but still feel a quiet emptiness inside. Number three, you bounce between motivation and burnout, never fully landing in peace. Number four, you know what you should do, but something keeps stopping you. And number five, you feel a deep inner knowing that there's more, but can't not access it. And I felt like what you said earlier really resonated with this post because if you're just we want more, but if you're just thinking with your head and going, with the latest trend, with what this guru says, or with, whatever shiny object syndrome that you've caught along the way, and not really, like you talked about, going deeper into your inner self, going to your heart, all these things will happen in life and they will block you from where you want to go and then they will hold you back.
Mm-hmm. They will. And so many, I would kind of say, so many people are sleepwalking, and that's everything we've listed there is what that sleepwalking feels like, but you're not normally aware of it when you're in it because you're settling and because you haven't remembered your worth yet. And it's only through kind of waking up and that awakening experience, which might feel like a massive insight, or, your heart bursting open, or you've gone through something really painful and it's the pain that's triggered this kind of awakening, that you can admit that to yourself. Like, yeah, I've been abandoning myself. I've been cheating myself. I've been lying to myself. I am not fulfilled. I'm not happy. But sometimes it's easier to not admit that to yourself, because then you've got to do something about it. And my friends and I, we joke sometimes, those of us who are on this awakening path, of like, oh, do you remember when we were like naive and we were still asleep and we were drinking loads and just like having a good time? And yeah, we were also in a lot of pain, but it was quite nice when you couldn't see everything about yourself, but you can feel it. It's showing up, but it just shows up. It shows up in those ways of the negative behavior patterns, and the ways in which we distract ourselves, right? So,
Yeah, and this is all about successful women, right?
mhm.
You're doing well in life. And I felt like those 5 signs, that was totally me in my 20s, right? I
Mm,
checked the boxes. People think I'm successful, but I wasn't fulfilled.
mm.
So, what's the key to feeling truly fulfilled for you, Lydia?
In my life and the journey that I've been on, really the key to being fulfilled is your connection to God. But I know that that isn't an answer that can be understood well for people. I need to take it outside of religion. I'm not a religious person, but the deeper you go, the more you search, the more you get to know yourself, the more connected you become to yourself, and there becomes a deep connection to all, and all that is, and the cosmic energy, the fabric that weaves everything together. Um, and you remember that there was never anything missing in the first place. So it's not so much about finding yourself or finding fulfillment. It's there. It's about lifting off everything that isn't real and true to just reconnect to it.
I love that. But I do want to point out we are talking about more in life, not in terms of the you hustle more, right?
Hmm.
It's a more powerful energy that we want to manifest more in life while having fun, while feeling aligned, while feeling fulfilled. That's what we want. So what's the
Yeah.
most powerful energy for you, Lydia, to manifest more in life?
The most powerful energy for manifesting is love, because love is the creator energy. It's love and power, because we've got Shiva and Shakti, right? So when you do the work to heal, you empower yourself. So now you've got the power. And now you're also reconnecting to self, which is connecting to source, to God. So you have the love. And through those two energies reawakened and balanced, when you then love everything, you love things into fruition, into reality, into manifest. So uh, I think like the way we see that so obviously is when we want to create life. Normally, a baby is created through love, and that's the biggest manifestation we can create as human beings is life. And so that helps to understand the power of love and manifesting love where you're at right now. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but if you hate your job or your business feels like it's stuck or you don't feel like you're successful enough yet, you really need to come into the present and see what you can love to bring forward more of what you want more quickly.
Mm, I love that answer. Actually, as a matter of fact, in each of my coaching sessions, I always say a prayer with my client. And
Mm.
whether you believe in God or the higher power, or if you're not religious, we can pray to love because we all have the ability to love. And when we
Yeah.
truly believe in love, that truly has the power. So I'm really glad that was your answer because I cannot agree more.
Yay.
Well, I believe in order to receive more, though, we have to first let go and surrender and
Mm.
shed. Would you agree with that?
100% surrender. So you've got the love and power, which are the two strongest energies within us that will fulfill and create, and that is source. And then connecting to them, the kind of the keys I'd say are faith and surrender, which is still God, that is source, but that's the piece that we have to do. You have to be willing to get out of the way to allow the love and the power to work through you, and for you and because of you. So surrender and faith. And I mean, once you're on this path, you're just on a constant journey of surrender and faith, surrender more, faith more, surrender more, faith more. But then, yeah, I love it.
One exercise I used to do is to write each year, like write down what I want to let go of for that year
Mhm.
and burn it in a bucket. I've done that at retreats and I've loved it. How can someone learn how to surrender, right? We're talking about it. Okay, let go, surrender. But if
Mm.
someone who's having trouble with that, what exercise would you recommend them to actually do?
Maybe if I just tell a little bit of my own experience, because it is one of those things that doesn't feel tangible,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure that there is a step by step like this is what you do. I think you need to pay attention, and God works in a way where it's going to grind you down until you surrender. So if right now, first of all, number one, if you're listening to this, you're on the path. Your soul has called you here to receive this information and whatever's going to land for you today. So, second of all, that means God's working in your life. I mean, it always is, but now pay attention. And if you feel stuck, if you feel like it's like you just keep not getting what you want, there isn't that fulfilled, light, joyful feeling. Listen, why? Why are you not getting what you want? It's because divine wants you to see something that you have not yet been seeing. And it's needing to grind you down. And actually, what it's doing is also grinding out karma, the energy that needs to leave from your system in this discomfort. And so stop, be still, look at where life is busy and start to be in communication. So, I thought I had surrendered quite a few times, but I realized I was surrendering and then sort of inwardly saying, look at me, I'm surrendering. What do I get now? But you can't really do it to get something. You do it to get out of the way. And so the time that I feel that I really did that was in 2020, end of 2022, down the back of my garden on my knees, and without any attachment to what this was going to bring me. It was really because there was nothing left for me to do. I realized I had exhausted all ways in which I thought I could fix things. And I said to God, you can take everything that I know to be true about myself. I just want to know what my true purpose is. And energetically, you just feel it. You know when you are being truthful with that handing over of the responsibility of life.
Mm, thank you for sharing. And I know much of your work also has to do with channeling. And in case someone who's not familiar with that, what is channeling?
Well, my experience of channeling has been that I, I went through an ascension. It was pretty full on, and I had around 100 initiations, activations with spirit. Also, I was just at home on my own, sober. It wasn't like a medicine initiation or anything that completely reset my nervous system. And what I understood was happening was I was being reset so that I could hold higher frequencies of light. And that makes me feel like it was kind of like an upgrade in a radio. So before that, it was like a mid-range radio. I was pretty in tuned to energy, but only within a certain range. And then my whole system was reset in a way that I was told that I can connect to everything because I am everything. And I have that lived experience of really knowing that I'm everything. So, like a very, very high tech, top of the range radio, I'm not just tuning into what my five senses, is it five or six? Five, six, experience. I'm tuning in beyond the 3D and receive wisdom that has a kind of like the highest energetic and highest spiritual perspective.
Mm. So for someone who's going like, oh, I have no idea how that feels like. That's not me. Um, but what I want to get across is that we all have that inner wisdom
Mhm.
within us. Even if you're not talking to spirits, even you're saying this is too woo-woo for me, but you still have that inner knowing. You do have that inner wisdom,
Mm.
right? Lydia, how would you guide someone to say you have that wisdom and how can we use that wisdom?
Mm. So when we don't believe that we have that wisdom or we're struggling to hear it, it's a journey. It's a journey around learning to trust yourself. So that when the trusting of yourself isn't there, it's usually married to the feeling of not trusting life either. And it would mean that you are more attached to what's going on externally. So this is a kind of a repairing of a relationship with yourself. And that comes through doing the inner work, however you decide to do it. There's not one right way, whether you choose therapy, coaching, EFT, like whatever you choose to do. Um, it's it's a coming home to yourself because once you've reconnected to yourself, you you trust yourself because you know yourself. And what's the one thing when we're kids and our parents say, don't talk to strangers, don't trust strangers. And so if you're a stranger to yourself because you've no one's ever taught you really how to go into yourself, then you're not also not going to trust or even know what that inner wisdom is.
Mm. And I think we're talking about true trust because so often I know people say, "Oh, I trust myself. I love myself. I believe in myself." But they're using it as affirmations, but not deep down inside. They're
Yeah.
not trusting. So how do you change that?
I think that's when we move from trust to faith. So it's
Mm,
like the difference between believing and knowing. But trust and belief kind of sit here. It's an effort. You have to kind of do some work to get into the trust, to get into the believing. So it's not become you yet. But when trusting drops into faith and believing drops into knowing, it's it's become you. But the thing is, to be able to have that richness in yourself, you have to be willing to get into the dirt of yourself and the darkness of yourself. And quite often, that gold is hidden in the darkest, most scary situations or experiences of ourselves. But as you allow yourself to be in that, for example, let's say something really simple. You're in a 9 to 5, and what you really want is to be an entrepreneur and have your business, right? But all you've ever known, all you've ever been conditioned with is security comes from your 9 to 5, which I think most of us can relate to. So your whole nervous system is set to believe that you need that structure around you to be safe. And so when you start to think about stepping into something that doesn't have any of that, which is going to involve trusting yourself, and stepping into the unknown, that can feel like somebody's running after you in a dark alley. Like that's how real that fear can feel. But until you actually just go ahead and do it, you're not going to earn the faith and the knowing on the other side. But that's the only way to really get it as well.
And I think it's a great point to a great time to point out that this happens in the beginning of your journey and it'll happen again every level you go up, right? When you're just starting out, you're going to think, oh, once I hit six figures, this would be a lot better. No, your stakes are getting higher. The problem will always be there. The untrustworthy will always come back up if you don't do these practices. And I think we are here to tell you that you are meant for more, but before you chase that more, it's really coming back to yourself, what you are let go of the past so that you have the capacity to receive more.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Lydia and I are here to make you believe that a truly fulfilled life is out there and you learn to trust. You have that inner well of wisdom already inside of you and just listen to your heart. Okay, thank you for your wisdom today, Lydia. In case someone need a picker upper, what is a quote that you can recommend them?
So as I said, I'm not much of a quotes person. There's only one quote that I've ever remembered. And I still need to, it's so short and I still need to like go back and check what it is. Okay. A rising tide lifts all boats. I think this stuck with me. It's by John F. Kennedy, is that when you're on this healing path, it can feel very isolating and you will go through a season of shedding, losing friends, relationships, jobs, houses. A lot of stuff will start to fall away. But just know that as you rise, everything and everyone around you will.
Mm, great reminder. Can you say the quote again?
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Okay, so Lydia's info will be linked below. So connect with her and follow her. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and thank you for listening.